If you have ever been to an Indian restaurant, then you probably know what butter chicken is. It is an Indian recipe which is actually more popular in the Western countries than India or Pakistan. It is made of chicken pieces that are cooked in a very creamy and buttery sauce that goes perfectly with naan. This recipe is made with common ingredients that most of us have in our homes except for a couple of spices that you can find on Amazon or a local Pakistani or Indian grocery store. First thing I'm going to do is take 2 medium-sized onions and chop them into small pieces. I'm going to be blending this all together later on, so it doesn't really matter what shape the pieces are, just make sure they're small so they cook faster. Now heat up about a tablespoon of cooking oil in a wok and add your onions and cook them until they become soft but not brown. They will turn a little yellow, but don't cook them too much until they caramelize and get darker. At this point, I added a tablespoon of ginger and garlic paste and a teaspoon of cumin powder. The ginger and garlic paste I bought pre-made in a jar, but you can easily make your own in a food processor or just chop both very finely and add it to this. Now I cooked this for about a minute, making sure that the ginger and garlic paste is not burning. It burns very easily. After about another minute, I added a cup of tomato sauce. You can add fresh tomatoes instead if you want, but since I'm going to blend this all together, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure the ingredients in the tomato sauce is just plain tomatoes and salt. Now I added the rest of the spices, which is 1 teaspoon of red chili powder. You can adjust this as you want. About a half tablespoon of garam masala, a very common Indian spice that you can find anywhere, and a teaspoon of turmeric, which is mostly for color. Few more minutes of cooking, then a cup and a half of milk. Instead of heavy cream, I'm using milk since that is what most people have in their homes. It just needs to be cooked a little longer, but the taste is the same. I used my immersion blender and blended everything together right in the wok. You can also take this out in a bowl and do this, or put it in a blender. Once everything became smooth, I stopped blending and tasted for seasoning. I haven't added any salt to this by this point, so I added about a half tablespoon of salt. Then I also added my chicken. I'm using about 1.5 pounds of chicken legs and thighs that have been cut into small pieces. I don't like boneless chicken breasts, which is usually what is used in this recipe. I prefer the taste of thighs. Now I let it cook covered for about 10 to 15 minutes and then cooked it without cover until the sauce thickened. The covered cooking is important so the chicken has enough time to cook properly. Once the sauce has thickened up quite a bit, I adjusted the seasoning once more and added a teaspoon of garam masala again. It is common in Pakistani and Indian cooking to add garam masala right at the end as well. Now it's time for the butter. I added half a stick and let it melt into the sauce. Once the butter melts and becomes part of the sauce, the dish is complete. You don't want to cook the butter too much or the taste of the butter will not stand out. At this point, I served this with a side of naan and garnished it with some cilantro.